And we're back with Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Concrete Jungle, Part 5. When we left off, Veronica and Q were off to a rocky start after she tried to play games during their first phone conversation. Shortly thereafter, the lights went out in the locker room while Veronica was stepping out of the shower. Angela and Regina walked out on the property owner in Houston because he thought female was akin to fool. But they scored a huge win at the spa where they had reservations. The two ladies enjoyed the head spa experience, luxury pedicures, and everything in between, including facials, waxes, facials, and massages. They even got to soak in the private spa tubs before their massages, and Angela made sure that they used her new essential oil infused bath line. All of the products used during their services were from her brand, Vibrantly You. Having two different skin types guaranteed that the professionals providing their services got to see both the products for oily skin and dry skin in action. And the employees were in love at first sight. After each service, they wanted what Angela was selling. And before the ladies left, Miss Truesdale accepted Angela's offer. On their way out, Angela called Bernie and made arrangements to have every product shipped next day directly to the salon. Early Saturday morning, the two ladies checked out of their hotel and hit the road, headed for Dallas. Angela had a meeting scheduled at 9 a.m. to view another property and a meeting at two spas, one in Dallas and one in Fort Worth. By 10:30 a.m., Regina was talking dollars and cents with the leasing agent, and Angela was on FaceTime with Bernie, showing her around the place, discussing specs and what would be needed to get the property outfitted for offices, conference rooms, the warehouse, and more. Bernie said, "Oh, Miss Angela, it looks wonderful. Now tell me, what's your plan? Do you plan to fly back and forth between Denver and Dallas to get everything ready? Or are you planning to have me do it?" Angela said, "Well, preliminarily, Regina and I planned on taking turns, flying in to check and make sure that everything is happening on schedule. Once the upfitting is complete and initial shipments are scheduled, I was hoping you wouldn't mind coming down to make sure that everything gets done. Then, hopefully, you and Regina can handle the offices, conference rooms, break room, and warehouse shelving. How does that sound? I know that this is all so sudden, and you've moved with me twice already." Bernie said, "Oh, that's not a problem at all. It sounds great, actually. Now, Miss Angela, my only living relative, my brother, moved to Houston a few years ago. This would be the closest we lived to one another in years." "What? Less than a 4-hour drive? An hour on a plane if I'm feeling fancy?" Angela laughed and said, "Well, I guess I know how you would feel about moving to Dallas. But how would you feel about moving to Dallas as soon as the place is ready so that you can help me get this staffing underway?" Bernie said, "I would love to. Now, are you sure that you want to keep moving me all around the country with you? I mean, I'm just an employee. You can always find another warehouse manager." Angela said, "No, Bernie, you're more like family. If anything, you're like a surrogate mother to me, or at the very least, an aunt. And as far as warehouse manager, with this move, I'm thinking about promoting you to chief of operations." While Angela was on the phone with Bernie, Regina, she slid off to the restroom to call LJ. And that conversation went a little something like this. "Babe, what are we going to do? Angela ended up choosing the warehouse in Dallas." LJ said, "I don't see the issue." Regina said, "The issue is over the last 6 months, all over the country, the only property that checked all of the boxes is the one in the same city where you know who is building a house." LJ said, "Babe, it's been over 2 years. He hasn't mentioned Shotty to me. Has Shotty mentioned him to you?" Regina said, "Nope, not a peep. I don't even know if she read the letters." LJ asked, "How long ago did she ask you for them? Wasn't that like a year ago? Regina said, yes. And it was only like 11 letters, so it shouldn't have taken her that long to read them. LJ said, only 11? What the hell was homie doing writing the damn novella? And how does your nosy behind know the exact number of letters he wrote? Regina, trying not to laugh because she was in the bathroom, said, I only know the number of letters because I numbered them as I received them, so that way she knew what order to read them. LJ said, so you mean to tell me your nosy behind didn't steam the letters open? Regina said, that actually works? But how do you seal them back up? LJ said, see, look at you. I knew you was nosy as hell. And they both started laughing. LJ said, babe, listen to me. My man's put it all on the line by writing them letters. If the two of them managed to find their way back to each other after all that happened, then maybe it's meant to be. Tina said, but do you think, LJ interrupted her and said, I don't need to think, and neither do you. These are two fully grown adults who are fully capable of making their own decisions, babe. Not to mention, they're two really good people who deserve to find love. And they would never intentionally do anything to hurt another person, let alone each other. Leave it alone, babe. Let the chips fall where they may. Meanwhile, Veronica is on the highway speeding to her regularly scheduled mani-pedi appointment. And she was able to convince her tech to squeeze her in for a wax and lash extensions for her date tonight with Q. The previous night, Q kept his word and called her back. After about 15 minutes of light conversation about their day, Q asked Veronica if she had dinner plans the following night. Veronica said, let me check my calendar. It looks like I'm all yours. Q said, is that right? Veronica said, that depends on what you have in mind. Q asked, have you ever been to the Mansion restaurant? Veronica looked at the phone to make sure that this man really just asked her if she'd been to the most expensive restaurant in the city, and then said, no, I haven't had an opportunity to patronize that particular establishment as of yet. Q said, text me your address. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 6. Now, while Veronica's driving, as is typical, she's on the phone with her best friend and business partner, Tracy. She just finished telling her about what happened to her at the gym yesterday. Girl, I was scared to death. I was feeling around on the floor for my wrap. I couldn't see a darn thing. It was so dark in there that my eyes couldn't even adjust to the darkness. After about 45 seconds, the light just came back on, and I could have sworn that I heard the door open and close. When I opened the shower curtain, the locker room was completely empty. My towel was over on the bench where the rest of my things were. And I'm telling you, girl, I remember putting it on, wearing it to the shower, taking it off, and hanging it on the hook. Tracy said, now, Veronica, why on earth would somebody come in the locker room, turn the lights off, take your towel, put it on the bench, turn the lights back on, and then leave back out of the locker room? Veronica said, I have no idea, but I'm telling you, I hung it on the hook. When I came out, I asked the manager if the lights went off in the rest of the facility, and he said they had it. Tracy asked, and you are sure that you were the only one in the locker room? Veronica said, yes. A few women came out of the locker room when I was going in it, but when I got in, I was the only one in the locker room. Tracy said, well, maybe one of the women just decided to play a prank on you. Veronica said, that's more like a prank a teenage boy would do. That's just not something a woman would do. Tracy asked, well, did you check your belongings to see if anything was missing? Girl, of course. Nothing even looked moved, well, other than my towel, but I still went ahead and locked all of my cards down. Tracy said, good. I'm glad you're okay. Then she heard a bell jingle and asked, where are you? Veronica said, girl, I'm better than okay. I just got to the spa. I'm getting ready to prepare for my date. Veronica checked in, accepted her glass of champagne, took a seat, and whispered in the phone, guess who asked me to go with him to the Mansion restaurant tonight? Tracy said, who? Veronica said, Your client, as she sat down across from two women who were clearly dressed for a business meeting and not spa treatments. Tracy said, Veronica, please do not waste this man's time. Veronica said, girl, don't start. I will FaceTime you later on so you can help me pick out my outfit. While she was talking to Tracy, the two women who were sitting across from her stood up, greeted the spa owner, and walked into her office. One of the women looked vaguely familiar, but Veronica couldn't place her. She shook off the thought when she saw her nail tech coming to collect her. While Veronica was getting her nails done, her bikini waxed, and her lash extensions, Angela and Regina were locking in on the deal of a lifetime. They'd already left the spa and were now heading to Fort Worth for their final meeting of the day. Within an hour of arriving at the meeting in Fort Worth, Angela has worked her newfound confidence and locked in her third spa contract for the weekend. Regina has agreed to have a contract on the owner's desk by close of business Monday, and the spa owner has agreed to run ads for Vibrantly You at her expense. As the two ladies were heading out of the spa, in walked Miss Bella St. James.